Hi, I'm the cat that you let out of the bag, Lunar Lux. So, for the month of August, I recorded the results of my solo queue matches, 132 to be precise. I started this project because I noticed that the statistics that Behavior releases every few months or so did not match my perceived experience of playing Dead by Daylight, especially playing in solo queue. Using Microsoft Excel, I recorded the following information for each match. 1. What time of day did I play? The answers for this varied slightly, between morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And for these categories, I didn't want to get too bogged down by specific hours of the day, just a general sense of the day. 2. What killer did I play against? This obviously ranges between the 30 or so killer characters that are now in DBD. 3. How many survivor deaths were there at the end of the match? For this specific question, I also counted bleedouts, deaths by endgame collapse, moris, and deaths by quitters. Question number 4. How many hook stages were rewarded to the killer? I didn't want to overcomplicate this question. I simply recorded the hook stages rewarded to the killer as shown on the HUD. Question number 5. How many generators were completed by the end of the match? This ranges between 0 to 5. Question number 6. Did I escape the match? This is obviously a yes or no answer, and it does include escapes through hatch. Question number 7. Were there any quitters, if any, during the match? And the answers vary between 0 to 5. For this question, I included players who disconnect from the match and players who give up on hook. Question number 8. What was my perceived skill of the survivor team? Now, this is probably my most subjective question, as I quantified skill from a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being beginner, 2 being intermediate, 3 being advanced, and 4 being expert. And the variables that affected team skill in this case were things such as coordinating on hooks, completing objectives while not in chase, length of chases, ability to prevent tunnel outs, and not giving up. Question number 9. What was my perceived skill of the killer player? Similar to the previous question, this ranges between 1 to 4, with somewhat similar variables, such as ability to end chases quickly, keep survivors off generators, keeping survivors injured, and map knowledge and game sense. While this is not a complete list, it does include some of the things that I looked for the most in matches. Question number 10. Did the killer tunnel? And for this question, I defined tunneling as the killer player immediately chasing and attempting to down the most recently hooked survivor, despite opportunity to chase another visible and nearby survivor. For this question, I also included cases where the killer tunnels out for a single stage or hook stage, or hard tunneling the survivor out of the match. Question 11. Did the killer camp? For this question, I included cases where the killer proxy camps, whether to secure a stage, force a tunnel out, or to engage altruism from other survivors. And this does not include camping during endgame. I didn't include camping during endgame because the killer has very few other objectives besides securing kills. Question number 12. Did I have fun? This question is directly taken from the endgame screen, and you're prompted to rate your experience during the match. And final question. Which map did I play on? I included this question because I want to see if certain maps increased a team's ability to escape out of the match. So with all this information, I wanted to answer a few questions that I had about playing solo queue survivor. My number 1 question, what is my overall survival rate? Out of 132 matches, I escaped 58 times, which brings me to a 43.93 escape rate. However, as previously mentioned, this does include escapes through hatch. And interestingly, this brings up my survival rate about 3 points higher than the overall solo queue survival rate, which was 40.34%, from the statistics that were released by Behavior in February of 2024. And in the matches where I escaped, or I managed to escape, my overall team skill rating came to 2.88, while the killer's skill came to 2.51. While not a massive difference, there is a little bit of a gap between the skill ratings, so that could explain why I managed to escape. My second question was, are survivor players better at certain times of the day? Again, as previously mentioned, I initially rated survivors from a scale of 1 to 4, but in a future project like this one, I may change my rating system. But anyways, the average skill rating of survivor players in the morning was 2.64, while the average skill rating of killer players in the morning was 2.51, while in the evening the average survivor skill was 2.63, with the killer skill level being at 2.72. With this information, I can say that there's no real skill difference between morning and evening survivor players, but there does seem to be a slight increase in killer's skill level during the evening. Question number 3. How often do killers tunnel? Out of 132 matches, the killer tunneled myself or another survivor 18 times, which brings my average tunnel rate to 13.63%. This may not seem like a lot, but if we put it into a different perspective, I got a killer tunneling myself or another survivor in 1 out of every 10 matches, which in my opinion is more than I'd like to see, but less than what I expected. Which brings me to question number 4. How often do survivors escape, with another survivor having been tunneled out? I got a pretty interesting answer for this question. In a match where a killer tunneled out a survivor, the average number of deaths was actually 2.64. While it's certainly not great, this means that on average at least one survivor might be able to escape. However, it must be said that in the matches where more than one survivor escaped, the average survivor's team skill came to 2.93, close to the advanced skill range that I previously explained, while in matches like these, the killer's skill rating came to 1.71. This may help explain why more than one survivor managed to escape. And lastly, question number 5, which killers do I see the most? For this question, I just wanted to see which 10 killers I see the most, which are as follows. Coming in at number 1, the good guy, also known as Chucky. With a 6.81% pick rate, I saw Chucky in 9 out of 132 matches. I attribute his high pick rate due to several factors. 1 being that he was added to DVD less than a year ago, 2 being that he's one of the biggest characters from classic slasher films, and 3, he is a currently very strong killer with a surprisingly easy power that can guarantee consistent results. The next killer that I saw the most in 7 out of 132 matches was Blight, bringing his pick rate to 5.30%. I'm not too surprised about this, he's also a pretty popular killer ever since his release, but the next killer that has Blight's exact same pick rate is Legion. I'm not too sure why he has such a high pick rate, but if I had to guess, it may be because he's fun to play when people don't want to play something too complex or mechanically demanding. Coming in at 3rd, I saw the next 3 killers in 6 matches, bringing their pick rates at 4.54%. These killers are the Lich, Oni, and Singularity. Their pick rates make sense as Vecna was recently added to DVD, Oni being a consistently popular killer, and Singularity recently getting some buffs. Coming in at the 4th spot, with each killer at a 3.78% pick rate in 5 out of 132 matches, these killers were Huntress, Hillbilly, Knight, and Unknown. Similar to the previous killers, some recently got buffs, some were recently added, and some have been consistently popular since their release. And lastly, which killer did I not see at all during the month of August? The Clown. If you'd like to see me make another video like this, let me know down in the comments and tell me which questions you'd like to see answered. Or tell me which killers you think you see the most in your matches. Please subscribe to my channel down below, hit the like button, and thank you guys for watching. Bye!